Hello and welcome back to Vizura Recaps. The narrative begins with a single woman named Anna enjoying a glass of wine before going to bed. When she raises her head, she sees someone strangling her neighbor to death. She initially believes she is hallucinating, but a closer look reveals that the neighbor is truly being slain. Anna jumps into action, grabs her phone, and calls the police. Then she decides to run out. Unfortunately, it is raining, and as she walks, her legs become weaker and weaker until Anna collapses on the ground. As she closes her eyes, the picture shifts to the past, where Anna previously had a lovely family. She had a lovely spouse and a caring daughter. One day, the school assigns them a job that requires parents to take their children to their workplaces to observe the working conditions. So her husband, Douglas, takes their daughter Elizabeth to work. The rain comes down just as they leave, so Anna grabs an umbrella for Elizabeth. Little did she know that would be their final rendezvous. The FBI employs Douglas, a forensic psychiatrist who specializes in serial murders. He brings Elizabeth with him to prison to a chamber where he must evaluate a serial killer who has murdered and eaten 30 people. Perhaps Elizabeth should have gone to work with her mother. Just before the examination begins, the warden asks Douglas to leave the room for an urgent reason. The warden then shuts the door, mistakenly locking the chamber. Douglas, however, forgot that a serial killer named Massacre Mike was in the same room as his daughter. Unfortunately, Mike takes full advantage of the chance. The murder of their daughter damaged Anna's relationship with her husband, and they eventually separated. Several years have passed, yet Anna remains shaken by the experience. To make matters worse, she has developed a fear of rain because it was raining on the fatal day. To cope with the loss of her daughter and the breakup of her marriage, Anna has returned to drinking wine on a regular basis. Her sanity has suffered as a result of her grief, and she occasionally claims to hear noises in the house and to see her murdered daughter, Elizabeth. This has further made her an outcast in the area. Buell, the community's handyman who specializes in restoring faulty mailboxes, is the only one who trusts her. There is no way that is a legitimate employment. Anna hasn't dated in a while, but when a handsome man named Neil Coleman moves into the house across the street, she develops an instant crush on him. Neil is a widower who has a 9-year-old daughter named Emma. This is music to Anna's ears, and in order to get closer to Neil, she befriends his young daughter. But, to her dismay, she soon discovers Neil has a stunning flight attendant girlfriend named Elisa. Anna is humiliated after flirting with Neil and resolves to keep her distance for the time being. Nonetheless, she continues to spy on Neil and his family. One night, while drinking wine, she sees Lisa's murder and is unable to save her because she collapsed. Surprisingly, an unknown individual witnesses the events and picks her up later. Anna awakens on her couch, dripping wet. Anna had previously called the police, and they arrive to inspect Neil's house. However, they uncover no dead people, and Neil discloses that Lisa is a flight attendant who is now working on a plane bound for Seattle. The police then question Anna, and when they see a bottle of wine and some pills on her table, they assume she was hallucinating and depart. However, Anna feels certain that she was not imagining anything. So the next morning, she speaks with Neil, who, like the others, says that Lisa is still alive. He even exhibits some text messages that he sent to Lisa earlier this morning. Despite the evidence, Anna is still not convinced. After Neil and his daughter Emma leave for the store, she breaks into their home in search of additional proof. She finds Elisa's earrings near the window and saves them for herself. However, before she can locate anything more definite, Neil and Emma return home and catch her red-handed. She is then chastised by the father-daughter combo for overstepping their boundaries before being booted out of the house. Anna, distraught and ashamed, goes to her friend Sloane and tells her about the entire event. She tries to beg for assistance in investigating the crime site, but to her dismay, Sloane believes she is hallucinating. Now, because everyone is giving her the same rationale, along with the fact that she frequently sees her dead daughter, Anna believes she was hallucinating. As a result, she chooses to discontinue her inquiry and attend the support group she joined following her daughter's death. Following the discussion, Anna decides to go out of town to clear her head. However, while she waits at the airport to purchase a ticket, she discovers that no flights to Seattle have been scheduled this week. This brings up memories for Anna, who recalls Neil telling her that Lisa had gone for Seattle the previous day. She also discovers that Lisa is currently on long leave. With this information, Anna begins to assume that Neil has murdered his lover. As a result, she goes to the local police station and speaks with a detective named Elaine. She displays Lisa's earrings and requests that the cop investigate the situation. However, Lane points out that it is insufficient evidence. In fact, it merely proves A, B, and E. Anna leaves the police station depressed, and when she gets to her car, she discovers a warning: "Stop where you are next." Despite this, she continues her inquiry. When Neil's daughter Elizabeth comes over to sell cookies, she earns her trust by handing her a huge sum of money. Then Anna asks the small girl whether she heard anything the night before the cops arrived. Elizabeth doesn't say much, but she does admit that her father and Lisa were often bickering, which is why Neil had told her to watch television. This makes Anna even more skeptical about Neil. The next morning, she searches for Neil on the internet. To her surprise, she learns that Neil was the primary suspect in his late wife's death. He was eventually released owing to a lack of proof, though. Some alleged he threw his wife in the sea and watched her drown. Anna, who has a history of overthinking, begins visualizing the entire episode. Neil took his wife near the docks and began behaving brutally towards her for no apparent reason. Then, as their daughter watched, he threw her into the sea and savored it until she breathed her last. Anna believes her intuition will be correct, despite the fact that it is all in her imagination. Anna also discovers that Emma's instructor died unexpectedly a few days after Neil's wife was murdered. Emma and her students were on a school excursion when the teacher mysteriously fell from a lighthouse. Strangely enough, Neil is the sole parent in the group photo. Anna imagines what could have happened back then. She suspects Neil has a relationship with the teacher. In the lighthouse, he made many advances for coitus, but the teacher turned them down. So, out of wrath, he shoved her down to her death. Anna gets increasingly certain that Neil is responsible for all of these fatalities, so she steps up her research. That night, she sees Neil hauling a large duffel bag to his car and is certain he is disposing of Lisa's body. As a result, she promptly gets into her car and begins to follow him discreetly. Soon, they arrive in a shadowy alley, where Neil stops his car, removes the duffel bag, and places it beside a garbage. However, before Anna can do anything, Neil spots her and the two argue. Anna accuses him of murder, while Neil complains about being continually spied on. Despite this, Anna is determined to find the truth, so she opens the duffel bag. She does find a human, but it is only a puppet. It is later revealed that in order to cope with his wife's death, Neil took up a hobby and became a ventriloquist. Definitely a serial killer. Every weekend, he goes to neighborhood bars to play and make people happy, just like today. Anna feels humiliated by all of this and apologizes excessively before leaving. Anna knows that the hallucinations must stop after becoming increasingly fixated. So she spills out her entire stash of alcohol. She learns that, just as Neil dealt with his losses by taking up ventriloquism as a pastime, she must also find one. She begins painting to divert her attention away from her daughter's nostalgia. As the days pass, she begins a new life. Until one night, a wild dog discovers Lisa's lifeless body in the woods. This proves that Anna was not delusional after all. That same night, the police locate the corpse and arrest Anna after discovering that her painting brush was used as the murder weapon. The police suspect Anna of killing Neil's girlfriend out of jealousy, which makes sense and surprises her, but she has no evidence to prove her innocence. Fortunately, her best friend Sloane comes to her rescue the next day and gets her released on bail. Anna comes home, and later that night, she experiences hallucinations again. She notices blood spilling from her attic and instinctively assumes it belongs to Lisa. She panics and contacts her psychiatrist ex-husband, Douglas. Anna tells him about the blood and the possibility that she was responsible for Lisa's death, despite being divorced for years. Douglas calms his ex-wife and encourages her to go up to the attic and confront her worries. Anna is apprehensive at first, but after considerable pressure, she agrees. She slowly makes her way to the attic, where she's relieved to realize that the crimson stuff is just paint. However, she realizes that someone has been living in her attic for some time. It turns out to be Buell, the handyman. After a while, she phones Douglas and tells him everything. The latter says Buell was his first mental case. He was in jail because he had ruthlessly murdered his entire family. Following multiple tests, he was ruled mad, but Douglas assisted in his rehabilitation, and he was subsequently released a few months later. Douglas also encouraged him to work, which is how he became a handyman. Hearing all of this, Anna fears that the psychopath in Buell has returned and is now murdering people one by one. She notices Buell coming to Neil's house with a hammer in severe rain. Fearful that the murderer will kill Neil and Emma, she runs outside despite her fear of rain. However, halfway through her trek, Anna's anxiety takes over and she collapses to the ground. But just as she is about to give up, she finds herself mentally transported to the prison cell where her daughter Elizabeth was murdered by Massacre Mike. She also recalls that no one came to her small girl's aid. After all of the recollections, Anna feels motivated and refuses to allow another young child be murdered by a demented serial killer. As a result, she gently drags herself towards the house and enters. However, what she sees there shocks her to the core. Anna discovers a mortally wounded Buell by the entryway. He dies soon after, and Anna feels awful for even suspecting Buell of the crime after he had worked so hard to improve. Anna hurries to help the little girl. She is shocked to see Neil dead on the couch. With this, Anna learns that neither Neil nor Buell were responsible for Lisa's death. Emma, the criminal, stands behind them with a bloody knife and a nasty grin on her face. Emma comments that people always underestimate youngsters and their abilities. Lisa, astonished, asks Emma why she killed Lisa, and the small girl, like a classic villain, admits her misdeeds. A flashback reveals that Emma had asked Lisa to buy some chocolate bars from her before she left for the airport. Lisa, a fitness enthusiast, refuses to do so and lectures the young girl about health, warning her that chocolate is the worst thing she could put in her system. This enraged Emma, so she approached Lisa with a knife and reminded her that chocolate isn't the worst thing you can put in your body before severing Lisa's neck. That's actually rather clever. Anna is perplexed because Neil was also present at home during Lisa's murder but didn't hear anything. Emma reveals that Neil was upstairs in the bathroom, with the water running, practicing his ventriloquist act and didn't want anyone to hear him. She also admits that she murdered her father because Neil forced her to attend his poor ventriloquist performances. Anna, horrified by her harshness, refers to her as a monster, but Emma swiftly responds that the monster was actually her mother. The unpleasant woman became pregnant, which went completely against Emma's interests because she preferred to be the center of attention. Emma spent the entire summer sawing down the dock's wooden platform, finishing off her mother and infant sibling. On the last day of her vacation, she drew her mother to the precarious platform. The poor woman fell into the water as planned, but Emma, like a maniac, simply let her drown. Emma intends to assassinate Anna and blame her for all of the deaths. She plans to play the victim, claiming she killed Anna in self-defense. Emma believes Anna is the ideal scapegoat since she can readily be identified as the mentally sick alcoholic woman from across the street. Emma also took Anna's palette knife while selling Girl Scout cookies at her home. Anna is astounded by the small girl's meticulous planning and deems her insane. This just enrages Emma, who discloses that her teacher used to call her insane before pushing her off the lighthouse to her death. Saying this, she assaults Anna with a knife, stabbing her in the stomach. Fortunately, Anna manages to fight back, and a protracted struggle ensues. The house is destroyed in the process. Anna searches for Neil's gun, but Emma discovers it first and shoots her in the shoulder. Anna is furious and jumps at her, successfully slapping the gun out of her grasp. However, the psychotic girl once again dominates Anna and smashes a dish on her skull, supposedly killing her. Meanwhile, Douglas travels to Anna's house, concerned for her well-being because he has been unable to contact her since she discovered Buell living in her attic. Elsewhere, Emma dials 911 and informs the operator that she killed her insane neighbor in self-defense, and the latter murdered her father. But just then, Anna starts moving again, demonstrating that she is still alive. Emma, enraged, hurriedly hangs up the phone and takes out the knife to finish Anna off once and for all. She sits on top of her victim, prepared to inflict the fatal blow, when Anna picks up a shattered piece of plate and stabs Emma in the heart, killing her. Douglas comes just in time to witness Anna stab the small child in self-defense. He then runs to Enset and invites her to remain with him, telling her that everything would be all right. It is absolutely not going to be okay. She seems insane. A few weeks after the incident, Anna is ruled innocent due to Douglas' testimony in her favor and a slew of contrary evidence. Fast forward a year, and we're reunited with Anna as she boards a plane to New York, where our character orders a glass of vodka. A strange woman sits next to Anna in seat 2A and assures her that she's on her way to New York for unclear business. However, when Anna wakes up from a little snooze, she finds the stranger dead in the airplane restroom. She promptly informs the personnel, but to her horror, they reveal that no passenger was allocated to seat 2A. Furthermore, they disclosed that no corpse or evidence of the crime was discovered in the restroom. The story concludes with us wondering if this is just one of her hallucinations, or if she has witnessed another genuine murder. That was the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more material like this, and please press the like button to assist us. Also, if you want us to recap your favorite movie, leave a comment. Take care until the next time.